In this recording, we're going to just have a look at use of the chat function. Now, there are 5 of us in this group, and we don't really need to use the chat function, but we're going to do it as illustrative as the kind of thing that we might do with wider groups. What we're interested in here is using a stimulus and then within chat getting a whole range of ideas from a bigger group, normally a bigger group. And being able to think about asking people to think about building on others' ideas in that. So what we want to achieve is, what do we know collectively? Because what we know collectively is obviously more than we can possibly know individually, so that the people that we're working with can see that collectively we know an awful lot of information. Collectively, we've got an awful lot of ideas, some of which we may wish to follow, and so on. We're also going to illustrate muting, which is an odd thing because normally people are asked to mute, but muting for a particular purpose, which is vocabulary practice. You could use it for music, you could use it for language, but we're going to use it for vocabulary practice in order to give people confidence in the words that they're using within the session. So Kate again is going to lead this one.
So I'm going to start by sharing my screen with you to show you an object that we use a lot within our teaching at the museum. And what I'm going to do, I will share my screen with you, but actually I'm also going to use the chat function, if I can find it, to hidden itself, to share a URL to the web page that I'm looking at to enable you to look at this object while we're talking.
I've got the chat function on my screen here, Kate.
I've sent it to Amelia. I haven't sent it to everyone else. There you go. And so the advantage of using a URL like this is that you can actually manipulate the object yourself rather than me showing you a PowerPoint presentation. And I've used the chat to share the link to the URL there. So try not to read all the text around this object. I want you to just click on what you can do is just click on it and have a look at the object itself. If you click on it, you should be able to get it to sort of pop out at you. And I just want you to start by, in the chat, writing a list of everything that you can see. It's a really good starting question when you're looking at objects. A snake, yes. A man. A large stone, yes. You can tell that this is an object which is made of solid granite, which is a kind of stone, a rock. A sun, yep. A beard. The man has a beard, doesn't he? Horns on a crown. Some other people around the person. A woman to the side. A dominant figure, people standing behind the main man. So you've got a dominant figure in the middle and then some people standing by the side. And the man in the middle has got crossed arms. Now, if I was standing in the museum, I would be able to show you that this is actually larger than life size. If I was standing next to it, I'd probably come up to about the hands on this object. It's on a plinth. It's a large object. His arms are crossed and he's holding something in each hand. There's a partial piece, some bits are missing. Incomplete damage, there's a bit missing from this. And you can also see on the head a headdress. And you've already given me some of the features of that headdress, which are the horns and the sun disk, and also the feathers on the back of the crown as well. If anyone's noticed that, there are some feathers. It's hard to see in the reproduction, but they're actually, and the crossed arms are holding something particularly, aren't they? Someone's noticed that they're holding. Does anyone want to have a go at guessing what those 2 objects that this person is holding in their hands might be? What do you think those important objects might be? Anyone have a guess? One is a flail, as somebody's just said accurately. There's you can see it has a kind of a whipping function, this flail, which is used for separating corn. And actually, if you can see, there's a kind of, the other object has got a hook in the end of it. So it's a shepherd's crook. And all these things should be giving you clues now as to the kind of person this person is. Is it just an ordinary everyday person? Or does anyone have an idea of what kind of person this might be? There's definitely a link to agriculture with the crook and the flail, absolutely, as Paul's just said. Is it a god, someone's asking, or a priest or a king? Does anyone have any knowledge of Egyptian gods that they can draw on? Anyone recognise it? It's a king. This is actually a pharaoh. It is a pharaoh, but this pharaoh is like a god, an ancient Egyptian god. An ancient Egyptian god who's normally shown or depicted holding a crook and a flail, which is the ancient Egyptian god Osiris. Does anyone have any knowledge of the Egyptian gods that can tell us about other gods which might be linked to this object? I'm thinking particularly of the sun disk. Does anyone know about an Egyptian god linked to the sun? Somebody might be able to draw on some knowledge. That's Ra, yeah. What do you think? Do you think Ra is a powerful god? If he's the god of the sun, is he an important god? It's a very important god. And Osiris is actually the king of the gods. So this pharaoh is being aligned with Osiris, the king of the gods. Has anyone got an idea of what this object might be? It's very big, isn't it? Any ideas? I'll have to give you a clue because it wouldn't originally have been standing up like this in a museum. It would have actually been an object which it's something that went on top of another object. It's a large object that went on top of another object, so if a kind of box went on top of a box. What do you think might have gone inside that box? If you look at the shape, it's a coffin. Yeah, it's a coffin cover. And you can see that the pharaoh is actually depicted in mummy form. His body has been mummified. So this shows that this is an object which is associated with burial rites and funeral rites. And it's actually a lid to his sarcophagus, which is a name that we give to a stone coffin. So I want you, because sarcophagus, if I was doing this with children, I'd ask them to practice the word sarcophagus, but I'm going to ask you to have a go at doing that by using the mute function on Zoom. So if you just mute yourselves now and practice saying with me the word sarcophagus, 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 sarcophagus. And then do you want to turn off your mute now and we'll all say it together? 1, 2, 3.
Sarcophagus.
Well done. So this is the lid to the sarcophagus of Ramesses III. I think I'll stop there, Paul.